How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the 2 Degrees Podcast, brought to you by the Play On Foundation. And today, as you can see, the setting's a little bit different. We're at Ramada in San Diego, giving the truck a little break right now. But in the meantime, we're still recording some episodes. So today's guest, I know him all the way from Toronto. We have that connection, and we worked together on a little project. We had Ryan Rosary on here before, so gotta shout out Ryan Rosary. He did this fun little, what would you call it? It wasn't a reboot. It was like a
It was kind of like well, do you know, first of all, hi everybody. Hi,
this is
if you're
Adam
looking at me.
Murciano, by the way. Let's get that out
Thanks for
there.
having me on. I don't know, like the new Bel Air that's coming out?
Yeah,
Have you
that's a
heard about it?
reboot though.
It's a reboot? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what you classify it. It was kind of like a
because
re-envisioned of Recess, a
yeah,
live
it
action,
was
I
it
guess you
was
could.
Recess. It was like a reboot version of
Disney
Recess, but then it
Recess.
was
Yeah.
twisted where the plot of it was in line with How to Get Away with Murder.
Yes. And you
So
directed us.
um I was the DP for that, the DOP for that
DP.
one.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So Ryan had complete reigns with the
Right,
directing that.
of
I
course.
I helped write in some jokes, which I'm quite proud of. So
Yes. That was
um
how many years ago? Like 2 years ago now? 3 years ago? I don't know what time it is.
I know COVID kind of shut all
It's
that
like
down.
pre-COVID and post-COVID. It's like we're
Yeah.
two different worlds now.
Now, did you also get to see that other one that was produced?
Yes, I saw
I've never
that.
seen it. What tell
Oh,
me
I didn't
about
actually
that.
see it. I saw that they were posting about it, but I never actually
Yeah,
saw it.
so that was
Yeah.
also that's oh it's just
What are the
I don't know
chances that they like somebody? I mean, who knows if they actually saw
yeah,
us doing it before? Who knows? But like
yeah.
that's very coincidental. Very
So
coincidental.
here's a question I have for you then. I was speaking with Brandon about it, and he also echoed the sentiments of it, but the idea of ideas are divine. So if you have an idea, it's up to you to act on it. If you don't act on
Yeah.
it, then somebody else is gonna
Yeah.
get that idea, that little brainchild. So it's
Well,
like,
actually, that this same situation happened with the podcast, which we can get into later on. But there is a
really?
whole thing. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of crazy, but it was just, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll get into
So
it.
I want to dive into that too. But
I just have a question first of
uh,
all, though. I don't
oh, this
understand.
is how you're gonna do
Are you living in a
it?
truck? What? Because the last time I saw you, we were both in Vancouver. I don't know if you said this
Yeah.
before on your show, but we've been in Vancouver, and then
Yeah.
I like COVID happened, and I feel like everyone just went their own ways or whatever. And then now I saw your
Yeah.
podcast, and I was like, wait, he's living in a truck? Like I'm so confused.
Yeah.
What is the story? I want
Yeah.
to know.
So the story is, and also in the vein of today's celebration, today's media celebration, if you will, it's what they call Bell Let's Talk Day. You've heard of that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So for anybody else in other places of the world, Canada has like a set day to kind of bring awareness to mental health, and our big phone conglomerate decided to make a nice hashtag that everybody seems to love to use. It's a Bell
Bell is the phone
hashtag
company.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Bell mental no what's
It's Bell. Let's
Let's
talk.
Talk. Bell Let's
Yeah.
Talk. Yeah. And so
And every
I
time someone uses the
definitely got
hashtag,
hit.
people donate. They donate, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that
I
is,
don't
but
know.
like
I don't
it's
know. I always
interesting.
question
Yeah.
that.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. But so I was in a deep funk during the quarantine,
Hmm.
and I just finished reading Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights, and then he talks about his time that he was in a he chose to do it. He decided to, like, after he was doing those movies like How to Lose a Girl in 10 Days, I think that
Hmm.
one. Um he bought a camper and decided fuck the world and let me
Oh,
just do this and go about life and explore life. And then so I'm in this mindset, and then all of a sudden too, like, the dating world kind of fell through, where
Mm-hmm.
my my partner and I didn't get along, and then I was like, "There's no love in Vancouver for me,"
Yeah.
and me
Yeah.
being super dramatic decided to buy a moving truck and convert
Yep.
it into a tiny home. And so I started that. I bought the truck in January, started the build in March because I still had to wrap
Mm-hmm.
up filming. And then from March to July, by July, I moved into the home. And
Okay.
then the plan was to go east to Nova Scotia. And then when it started to get cold for November, then head down south to Florida.
Wow.
And that, but we didn't, there was so many engine problems with the truck that kind of
Yeah.
delayed the process. So we made it to
Yeah.
New Brunswick, and then the snow started to come, and then it's like, do we go to Nova Scotia and finish it,
Yeah.
or do we
Yeah.
just say
Yeah.
fuck it and beeline to Florida? So we
Yeah.
just went down to Florida and then across to California right now, where we're at,
Wow.
and I'm
Wow.
just hanging out here until it decides to warm up.
So it's an actual little mini home. You're not just sleeping in a chair. You're
No, no,
like you
no.
build
Yeah,
a
like
home.
I
Okay.
got
Okay.
a, yeah, I got a queen
Okay.
size
Cool.
bed. I got a kitchen, got a
Wow.
bathroom,
That's
got
so
a little mini
cool.
oven,
And how long did
running
that
on
whole
solar
process
power, which
make?
is that
That whole process
um
did make it. How long was
from
that?
March
Oh,
to July, because I
got it.
moved into it July 1st, because that's when
Cool.
I scrapped my lease at my
Yeah.
place, and
Wow.
then
Hey.
yeah, yeah, it's really neat because like especially on the days when it's really sunny and I'm using all my appliances and I'm on my computer and
Yeah.
everything's charging. I'm like, I'm doing everything from solar power. This
Yeah.
is
Oh,
so
wow. That's
yeah,
sick.
that's yeah.
How
So with
how do you
regards to
shower?
that, like I have like a shower in there, but my
You have a
shower's a little
shower?
fucked
Okay.
up because
Yeah.
my water. Yeah, so right now we're using a basin, and just doing it old school style and
Nice.
just
Yeah.
washing.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
yeah, so that was my COVID quarantine hump.
Mm,
That
that's
my way to get
crazy.
out of it. What happened with you during quarantine and COVID? What went into your brain?
Well, first of
Were
all, I just
you
want to.
okay? How? Let's first of all let's start now. It's like how are you doing now? Where's your head at now? Are you okay?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm proud of you because that's such a cool, huge, dramatic move and step in your life to just pack your shit up and go. And
Yeah,
so scary. And I mean, you're living in a
yeah,
truck, and it's. I mean, it's just a lot.
yeah.
So I mean, and
Because
especially during COVID
also the big
times.
thing too was yeah, the big thing too was like everything went self tapes.
Yeah.
I moved to Vancouver to
Yep.
get in the room in Vancouver,
Exactly.
which I did.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden everything went self tapes, and I was like, I'm not bound to Vancouver
Yeah.
anymore. I don't need
Yeah.
to be
And
here.
then that's like that. That's like
So
that for so
then,
many industries in the world. I have buddies who are in a
yeah,
completely different industry than ours, and he's working in Ireland, but he's living in Ireland, but he's working here, and it's just like, it's so cool that that's like, I guess the only positive of COVID is that we can actually like go and like live life and go to different places and not have to feel like we have to be home, like in stuck in one place for work. You know,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
But I just want to say
yeah.
I'm very proud of you. That's really
No,
cool that you
yeah,
got to do that, and it's an experience and you can always come home. Like that's what I always tell my friends who want to move,
yeah,
whatever, you can always come back. This is your home. And yeah.
yeah.
So, but I've been
Well, depending on what Trudeau wants to
exactly.
do with the fucking
Yeah,
borders.
yeah, yeah.
So, but with respect to that, if he decides to say the borders are closed and I can't get back, it's like, all right, fuck it, I'm staying in
Yeah.
California. Why not?
Yeah. Well,
But yes, how are you?
well, I've been okay. I mean, I feel like right now everything's really hectic for me. Everything's kind of picking up again. But COVID, like what happened was like I got dropped by my agent in March, like days after
Hmm.
we went into lockdown, the first lockdown. My agent was just clearing his roster of people who weren't working, and I wasn't really booking that much, and so he kind of just dropped me. And I
Hmm.
was so like lost in that moment because I was like, well, I moved to Vancouver, I got an agent, and I was getting in the room and I was getting shortlisted and this and that and this and that. And I booked some things, whatever. And then this happened and I just didn't know what to do. I felt so lost. I didn't know if I should
Hmm.
move back home to Toronto, if I should just ride it out in Vancouver. And I couldn't really get another agent because nobody was signing people. They were just trying to get their own clients work at that time, right?
Yeah.
If there was any work.
Is it a Toronto agent,
So
Vancouver agent?
my Vancouver agent.
Mm.
So I just was like, damn, man, like I don't know. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, I've never really taken a break from acting ever, like my whole life since I was 14, I've
Mm.
been doing this. So I was like, maybe I'll just take a year to just take a beat and just to
Yeah.
like reevaluate even if I want to do this. And not even a
Yeah.
month went by, and I was just like so antsy with like creative overdrive. I was just like, "Ugh, I just want to fucking do something. Like so bored. I
Yeah.
was like, I felt so creatively like in a like slump, like how you felt, like same thing. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't know what to do. And so I just kind of what happened was I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Maybe they say make your own work, do your own thing. And I was like, well, I don't have the money to hire a camera crew and to, I don't have the connections either, like, how Ryan did with you guys and whatever, hired all these people and whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't. And I didn't want to ask people for favors during COVID. And it was just like very like weird time. So I wanted
Mm.
to do something that I
That's so
could
funny
like,
though, because it's like all this talk with like favors and stuff, and it's scary to
yeah.
ask for favors, especially during the pandemic. But then it's like you look at what Zendaya and John David did with what was that film that they did?
I think
Um,
Malcolm and something. Is it that one?
Malcolm and
Malcolm and
Marie. And it's
Marie? Yeah.
like they, you know what I mean? Like cool
Yeah,
products came out of,
totally.
so but yeah.
But I just also never have made anything on my own before. So like I just felt like weird to ask people for favors. And again, COVID time, how are we even gonna do
Mm,
this? And that was early COVID. We didn't know what was going on and people were scared to even leave their house.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, what can I do to like make my own project, one man show? I can do my own thing. And I thought of a fictional podcast. And that was something I've always wanted to do. It's something that I've thought about for years. I just never got around to it, never thought about really doing it, whatever. But this seemed like the right time. I was like, okay, well, I'm stuck in my room. I have nothing else to do.
Mhm.
And I can literally just make it on a mic that I have and create this world. Like
When
I
you
can
say
literally
you've
just all
always wanted to do it, like when did the brainchild happen? What was the event that was like, oh, this is cool?
I think in 2014, I first heard my first ever fictional podcast, and I was like, "This is so cool." And back then, it
Mm,
wasn't very. They didn't really have much. It sounds crazy, but they didn't have like crazy sound
yeah,
effects or anything. It was still like a Wild West. It still is, but like very Wild West back then. Like they didn't really know what it
yeah,
was. It was a very new genre of like podcasts in general weren't even that big in 2014, right? So like, anyways, I just thought it was really
mm,
cool, but I didn't know how to go about it, and never really
yeah,
took it on. I was like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But when I was stuck in my room, I was like, all right, let me just do it. Like, why not? But again, I've never written anything
yeah,
before. I've never done anything before like this. So I was writing a bunch of like pilots and like different. I had so many concepts because I was so creatively frustrated. I was like, I've this idea, this idea, this idea, and nothing really kind of fell through more than like a pilot or whatever. And then I
mm,
came up with Cascadia through an Instagram photo. I follow this like web designer who does deep sea like digital design. And I saw this one like deep sea guy underwater and it just said alone. And I saw that and I was like, wait, this is like
mm,
a really cool kind of concept. I can, again, I'm alone. I can do this like a one man show. I can somehow kind of figure out how I can make a show out of this. I don't know, but I never did it. It was in August of 2020. I just kind of played with the idea. I wrote down concepts, wrote down kind of like jot notes of where it can go, whatever. Didn't I just kind of left it. Again, I was having different ideas, different ideas, different
mm,
ideas. And Christmas of 2020, I went to my friend's house and slept over, and I kept on thinking about this idea, this this underwater idea. And I told her, I said, hey, like I have this idea of this podcast, fictional podcast of this guy underwater. He's face to face with some alien life. I'm not really sure. Like I don't know what this is, but I just feel like I want to make something here. And she's not a writer. She's not in the industry. She just sat down with me and we both just spitballed ideas back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it was just like
yeah.
that in 10 minutes, we came up with the whole concept. And it was the coolest thing ever.
Wow.
I'm sure you've had this kind of experience where you just kind of come up with that concept and it just works. I don't know. Have you?
I've had the like I've had little
Mm-hmm.
brainchilds, but then it's like I still have a problem
Okay.
collaborating.
How so?
So that's another question. If I have a baby in my head, I'm so
Oh,
careful with it. And it's like as soon as one person decides to like give input that I don't
mm-hmm.
want, it's like, yeah, I'm
Yep.
scared. This is my baby.
Totally.
Right? So So like, what was that like? So does that mean this person helped you with the writing, or was the writing all
Okay, well, I'm
you?
so glad
What
you
happened
said that
there?
because I just until now felt alone in that. I was like, maybe I'm just like psychotic. Like maybe I have like some kind of like
No, I've
control.
I've even had people on the podcast too talk with them where it's like it's hard to let go of
Yeah,
control, and it's like, but it's necessary because it's hard to just
you can't just
wear
do it
so
by
many hats when
yourself.
you're running a
Yeah, it's like you see
project.
these big movies and big
Yeah,
shows, and it's all collaborative, right? Everyone's
yeah,
so she just helped me come up with the first episode, kind of like the pilot, I guess. Just again, concept. Like nothing was written. We were just sitting there like
yeah.
spitballing. And I ran into my friend
Nice.
Antonio Cordero. We just ran into each other, and I said to him, I said, "Hey, like, I have this like idea." And he's a director. I'm like, would you want to help me? Like, I don't know. Again, I've never done anything before. I'm so shy to ask people. And he's like, let's do this. And so we sat down and we
Yeah,
wrote and we wrote and we wrote. And it, I swear to God, it just came out. The first two episodes just came
nice.
out, and we were like, okay, we have something here. We can actually run with this. So that's kind
Yeah,
of how it all started. And so in a way, I'm like you. I agree. It's like kind of like my baby, but then it became kind of everyone's baby. We all kind of it kind of just grew, and like Antonio and I shared a lot of it. I literally couldn't have done it without him and my actors, and
yeah,
we all collaborated, right? So, but when it came to editing, I was like, no one's gonna touch this. I'm gonna, I want the full
fair.
control. But
Okay, so
yeah,
then, so you edited it. Now, did you also do the sound design and everything for it as
yeah.
well?
So
Wow.
I went to school for, I went to Humber College for multimedia. So I went to school for audio
Yeah,
design, or film editing, all these things. But I'm not like a pro in by any means. Like I went
yeah,
to school, I graduated in 2016. I had to like relearn everything on thanks to YouTube University. I just watch videos and just it's also just by ear, right? Like I would
yeah.
just listen to things and play around, a lot of trial and error. And I mean,
So
this was
then
a
where did
year
you
long
get,
production.
do you have a library of all the sound effects and everything too then?
Yes. Yeah, I'm subscribed to
Wow.
3 websites. And there, I'm not kidding you, I will spend, and this is where the crazy comes in. I will spend like an hour finding a specific sound effect. And like
You have to
it
though.
you have to. And sometimes it's hard. Like there's a no spoilers, but there's a scene where we talk about bombs. And
Yeah,
I needed a Foley for like the character holding
yeah,
like this kind of bomb. It's like I typed it in and I couldn't find that anywhere. What do you like? What's the sound of a bomb? So you have to substitute sometimes, right? So you have to think, okay, what can this substitute as? So I found ceramic sounds and just like glass kind of sounds. And I just kind of, you
yeah.
substitute things like that, right? And so,
Oh, this leads
yeah,
me to ask then, did you Foley in any sounds or was this all
no,
sounds you picked? Okay,
it's all
that would have
sounds
been
we
fun.
picked. Yeah, it would have been fun, but I just feel like there was already so much like on this project that I had to do. I was
Yeah.
just like, and there was a lot of good high quality stuff. So I wouldn't put anything that was
Hold
low
on, before you
quality. It was
continue, I just
yeah,
gotta mention this thing that I saw recently. It was like it was a Foley artist and he
yeah.
was doing like the reality shows. And so it's
Isn't it?
like I think the
I think I've
show
seen this.
and like they're kissing, so he has to make noises of them
Yes,
kissing, and
yes,
he does the most random things. And like the one that sticks out is like raw chicken on a chopping board. He's like,
yeah.
and I was like,
I
oh
think that was
man,
a parody. I don't think that was real,
no, it
but
wasn't real.
that
But
is
like, yeah,
no, yeah, yeah. I saw that. I died. I sent to Antonio, my director. But there is like studios like Warner Brothers and Disney. They have like Foley sound stages
oh
where people
yeah,
actually make their own. So
yeah,
I will say the hardest thing though, finding like the hardest Foley to find was footsteps. You can't find a basic
really,
footstep walking from
huh.
left to right. There's always some kind of low quality or walking in snow or mud or high heel. I'm like,
Yeah.
how can I just? It
I
was
was
so
about to
hard, but
say, I think my favorite reproduced sound when it comes to Foley is cornstarch in a burlap bag, and you kind of just ring it together. It's
oh,
like,
yeah.
and it
What would
sounds like
that
you're
be
stepping
though?
through snow,
Oh, sounds like you're
walking through
stepping through
snow.
snow. Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, and it's a particular snow because then this is
Right.
packing snow. This is like
Right.
thick snow. It's not a flurry. So it's like
Yeah.
finding all these things. Yeah. So good for you
Yeah.
for sitting through all that. Now, how
Thanks.
long did the whole thing take?
So back to the story, I guess. This was again, so December 2020, we came up with the concept, the first 2 episodes, and this was actually going to be an anthology. So again, I had all these
Mhm.
ideas in my head for different stories, and I was like, oh, well, let's just make an anthology. I'll make like 2 episodes, 2 parts for each story. And so we realized quickly that there was so much more to this Cascadia story that it should have its own series. So by
Yeah.
January, we wrote the first two episodes, and I told Antonio, I said, okay, let's just stop. Let's record. Let's record it. See how it sounds. If we like it, we can continue on with the show, continue writing, and da da da. So I cast the actors. A lot of them are all, friends of whatever, and we recorded the demos, the first two episodes on Zoom. Now this is where all the problems happen.
Huh.
I
Okay.
the Antonio was like, well, we should all get in the same Zoom room and record off of each other. But I was scared that there would be lags and that there would be this glitch or that glitch. And I said, no, let's record each actor on their own by themselves. That way we can get the
Hmm.
best take, best line of each take. Again, crazy. Antonio's like, well, I think
Yeah.
that's going to run into troubles later with editing. I'm like, no, no, no. Again, like you controlling with the project, baby. I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to do
Yeah.
this way. So he listens to
Yeah.
me, and I would spend 3 hours with that each actor by themselves recording like 30 takes of a line, like
Each
crazy,
line.
each
Wow.
line. And we would direct them and da 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 da. And then it came down to editing, and I would spend like a month doing like every day working on like a 9 scene episode. And it was hard because I would take
Wow.
this line, but I had to match with, Aaliyah's line and Holden's line, and the tone doesn't
Yeah.
sound right. So I got to take this line and move it to that line. It was just very tedious and very particular.
Yeah.
And completed
Yeah.
the first two episodes, and it was hard because everybody had different background noises. Everyone had different energies, different levels. And I was working on this for so long that I got immune to all that. And so did Antonio. And then I sent it to my friend Ashley, and she's not a part of the project at all. She was just kind of like a third party. And it's like, what do you think about this? And she said, Adam, this sounds great. Like the acting's good, the story is good, the sound effects are cool, but I can tell that it's off. You guys aren't in the same room.
Hmm.
The energies are off. It doesn't sound real.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. That bothered me because I spent
Yeah.
so long editing, and not it didn't bother me that she was honest. It bothered me that if she, a third party, can tell, then Joe Blow in
Yeah.
Idaho will tell. So
Yeah.
so I called Antonio up one night and I said, I thought he was gonna be like, I'm done with this project. But I called him up and I said, would you mind if we scrapped both episodes? He's like,
You were
what
right.
do you mean? No, he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I want to take everybody to the recording studio and do this live. And he's like, oh, thank God.
Oh,
He's like, thank God.
hey,
So
good, good.
yeah, so we
Yeah.
considered those two episodes as demos, and we really worked off of them. They
Yeah.
really helped us shape the characters with the actors. But the problem was one of the actors we were casting people from all over the world, right? People were in Toronto, people were in Vancouver, people were in, LA, whatever. So we had to let one of our main actors.
I love how that's the
I
world.
know. It was great, but we were doing this show was I wanted the energy to be in the room in the real time. So I had
Yeah.
to let one of my
Yeah.
best friends who was playing one of the leads go, and told her. She was very supportive, but we recasted the role of Aaliyah, and we went to the recording studio, and it changed everything. It was so
Wow.
fun. I don't know, have you ever done like a audio drama or like an audiobook before?
I've done a live
Things.
read, a live
Yeah.
read of some like it wasn't really a table read, but it was like performative theater where me and the
Oh,
cast were all on stage with our microphone and the script in our hand. And so
dope.
it was almost like a table read, but then there'd be some sound effects and stuff like that. And this was in front
Cool.
of a theater audience, so and they
Hmm.
were dying from it.
That's
So
awesome.
because
It just changes everything. Yeah.
with the thing that I wanted to do, like that's what I was thinking was something along those lines. But then when I heard yours, I was like, I need the sounds. I need all of that now, just because it's
What do you mean?
like all the sound effects. Where
But that's
in my
it's not hard to do. Yeah, you
it's
can.
not hard to
That's the
do,
thing.
but then it's
It's
like I
super
was
cheap to make.
considering not doing it. Like I was considering
Oh,
just
okay.
dialogue, right? And
Got
it's
it.
like that should translate. And then when I heard yours, I was like, no, it needs sound. And then so like even with that, I do have to say I hated your character
Oh my God,
because
everyone does. I'm reading Reddit posts. Everyone on Reddit is like shitting on my character, and that was intentional.
it's
We wanted people to not like him.
great. No, that's
Yeah,
great. But
yeah,
like I hated it from the perspective of I used to work on ships. So to
yeah.
have an inexperienced captain, and
Nuts.
so I was
Yeah,
having flashbacks like, yo, this guy is just gonna destroy this crew and they're gonna hate
yeah.
him, but then they can't do anything because he's the captain and they're gonna die.
and they're trapped. Yeah.
I'm hearing your character make all these decisions, and I was like, in what mind would a captain do that? Like this guy has some serious issues.
Yeah, and when we first wrote those two episodes, like we didn't know where the story was going. We were kind of writing as we went. But if you, I don't
Oh
know if you heard the
wow.
whole show, but everything
What are you,
changes by
network
episode
TV?
four,
Jesus.
right? Everything changes by episode four, and all his
Yeah,
decisions make sense, and you
yeah.
know why he was making the decisions that he was doing. And so it was really cool because I feel like most of the characters at the beginning, the protagonists, like people root for them, people like them.
I can't justify him making those decisions. Doesn't matter what the
I
reasons
know,
were.
yeah,
Like you're to be a captain. Like come on,
yeah,
come
yeah.
on.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
I feel like there was like a lot of that going on. And I think it was
mm,
cool because it really just threw all the dynamics off. And again, there was so much plot twist
yeah,
later on in the show that you kind of just, he's still a shitty captain and still a shitty character. But you
100%.
kind of
Yeah,
see why, he did kind of
yeah.
some of the things he did. He was brainwashed, and spoiler alert.
So did you get
Um,
everybody to Toronto then, or was everybody in Vancouver?
no, we recorded in Vancouver, and we recorded the whole show in six days, each episode a day.
Nice.
And those
Yeah,
actors kept up because, as you know, the show's very
yeah,
hectic, chaotic,
yeah,
lots of energy, and it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work for sure. A
yeah.
lot of work. But it was really cool. We were recording in real time, and we had like certain
Mm,
like alien creatures, whatever. We would have like CGI on iPads to react to it, and
yeah.
we'd be eating in real life, and it was really cool to because we were just again in a circle in a small room. It felt like we were in a sub. We were looking at each other, reacting off each other, screaming
Mm,
at each other. It was
that's
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
And I was very lucky to have great sound engineers, and Antonio directed us great, and so I'm very happy with everything, and the
yeah.
cast of course
Because
was
that was my
great.
biggest question coming into this was like, how did you guys record? Because if it was separate, then because I've also been in that situation where, especially when it comes to ADR and stuff, and they add lines
Mhm.
and you don't know what the other person said or how they said it. And so the
Yeah,
director really needs to step in and garner a very specific sound on your line
hmm
delivery. So I was really curious to know your involvement with that. So, but I'm thrilled
yeah.
to hear that you guys were all in the same room. That definitely makes everything so much easier.
The only character that wasn't was the Maria character, the wife, and she was in Toronto. And we auditioned other women to try to, because
Hmm.
again, we want to record all in Vancouver, but no, everyone was great. There were talented girls, but nothing could compare because she was in the demos. Nothing could compare to her.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right. So as the show was literally airing, we like went to Toronto and we re-recorded her stuff in a studio, and we had to show
Here's
her
a
the other
tip.
actors. Yeah,
Here's a tip if you're gonna do another one and everybody's separate is know your read. So then you get one person in and you read with them, get their
yeah,
reactions, get how they do it,
yes,
and then
yes,
play their playback for yeah
totally.
the other person.
Totally. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a good
but
that's a good point.
do you have another one lined up?
Yeah, we're writing season two. There is a season two, and I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say
cool.
anything, but I'm not gonna say anything. But we are writing
Okay.
season
All
two,
right.
and
No,
we
that's
want to
that's
do a
that's
bunch of
awesome. There's a
things.
season two.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have a potential release date at least for that? Can we know that?
We want probably the summer. It took a year for the first one because there was a lot of
This year.
mishaps. Yeah, there was a lot of mishaps and stuff, but
Okay.
now we figured everything out. We ironed out all the issues that we had. I feel like it's gonna be smooth sailing, hopefully,
Yeah.
this time around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love
Do
to
you
have you
remember
on.
what that podcast was that you heard about?
It was called the Black Tapes Project. It's a horror kind of ghost story, and also the Big Loop. They're both by a
Okay.
guy named Paul Bay, and he's from Vancouver,
Cool.
actually, just coincidentally.
I want to look into
And
those too, just to catch the sounds and stuff of it.
yeah, the
So,
Big
cause
Loop is
like
a really good one. It's an
for
anthology. It's really good. Yeah.
mhm. Cause the only radio theater broadcasting that I've ever heard and which still blew my mind to this day, the way it's produced, um, War of the Worlds. Are you
Okay.
familiar with that one?
No.
War of the Worlds.
More of the
It
worlds.
was a so it was a book originally by H.G. Wells, and
Hmm.
then in 1938, when radios were everything, they
Yep.
did this broadcast. but the way they did it was so smart, where they had a radio broadcast happening that was part of the
Oh,
script. So a
of
radio
course. Yes, I know
broadcast is
this one.
happening,
Yes.
and then it's interrupted by
Yeah.
this thing of aliens are coming, and then because
Everyone lost
everybody
it.
thought that
Yeah.
radios were the shit, they're hearing this, everybody was losing it. And
Yes.
so that's like also a big inspiration for
Totally.
me in regards to this type of
It's so cool
medium.
because that
So
like that
that,
was before television. That's what it was. Radio dramas, right? People listened and tuned in every
yeah,
Saturday, whatever the time, and they listened to radio drama. That was the first one. And after that, people caught on and started
yeah,
doing it. Then it died after TV came out. It just kind of died. And now
mm,
it's like rebirth. And a lot of these shows have A-list actors. Rami Malek did one called Blackout. Chloe Grace Moretz did one. And a lot of these podcasts, these fictional podcasts, are
yeah.
turning into live action series, like Limetown. That was
That's really
that was
cool.
one,
Yeah,
and Homecoming was one with Julia Roberts. A lot of them are turning into, it's a sneaky way, because instead of just pitching your pilot or whatever to a network,
yeah,
you already have something. You already produce something. There's already fans out there, and you can take it to them and be like, look, we have something here,
yeah.
So I think it's a
So the only thing now with my situation is if I were to record it, I'd have to figure out something in whatever city I'm in if I'm not in Vancouver.
well,
So I'd love to.
you
Let me
a
know.
lot of
Keep me
people do
posted.
it on Zoom, and I think this time around, like,
Yeah.
we can do it on Zoom. We know what we're doing, and I think,
It's gonna be tricky for me
yeah,
though, because sometimes where I'm parked, there's a lot of
right, there you
noises.
go, right.
So, because like especially with what I'm doing right
Hmm.
now is boondocking,
Cool.
and the other day, not the other day, but like the last location that we were at, we were right next to a train track, and every now and then, depending on who the conductor would be, they'd either blow their horn or they wouldn't. So I can't remember who I was interviewing, but then that happened where it's like a couple times a train would pass, and
You're just
then
like,
like
"Ugh."
it just completely
Yeah,
freeze the interview. But at the same time, I'm like trying to keep it cool, and then just like I'm trying to listen
yeah,
intently, and then it'd be the other person to be like,
yeah, exactly.
"What was that?"
Well,
And I'm like,
the thing is with this is that we can just take it again, right? Like, if there's like, we're not in a live
"Yeah,
interview, so it's lines, so we can always take it again, and
yeah,
maybe you
yeah."
can put some padding up or something in your track. I don't know. We'll see.
There, no, we'll figure it
Yeah,
out. I've seen like some neat voice recorder things too, where it's like
yeah.
it encapsulates you, so
Hmm.
it's just your voice and it's nice and clear. Yeah,
I mean, you're
maybe,
so
maybe,
talented. You're so
maybe.
talented, and you're so,
Ah,
no, I'm not just saying this. Like, I've always truly looked up to you, and you're so good. And like, I feel like you're a really good writer
I'll
too.
give you fifty
Thank you.
dollars
You
later.
transfer me. Um, but I think you should do one. I feel like that's something this is a perfect project to go on the road with. Like, you can totally do this from anywhere,
Yeah,
and it'd be really cool to see what you come up with for sure. So, yeah.
yeah. Because like I already wrote it.
So you
It's
wrote an
too
radio
long.
play? Is that what you
I
wrote it?
wrote I wrote a novel, but
Okay.
it's a short novel.
Hmm.
But and if you were to look at it, it'd be the way it was written, it would be a really long feature. So it's like it's
Okay.
either one of it's right in between. It's too long to be a
Right.
feature, it's too short to be a novel. So like I
Okay.
want to take it and make it into a
You
radio
could do an
drama.
audio. You could do an audio movie. Make like a 1 hour special. I don't know, but most of the
Yeah.
time, people like a good episodic
Yeah, because
cliffhangers
like
and
that's the
stuff. I
thing
don't
is like
know.
I
Yeah.
know I already know how I divided. I divided into like the
Oh,
different
then there you go.
scenes, right?
Yeah.
So with this is
If
what
you have
I'm
any
thinking
questions,
is
let me know.
no, 100%. Like
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with the way you put Cascadia together, man, and
Thank
good on
you.
you for
Thank
writing,
you.
for directing, and for acting in
Oh,
it.
thanks,
And
man.
it's
It's
because
crazy. It was a
there's so many
crazy
people that
ride.
are, yeah, there's so many people that are putting out their art, and
Mhm.
within our industry in particular, it's so tricky to find that creative outlet. Not only that's good, but at the same time that's different,
Yeah.
because everybody's trying to make a short, everybody's trying to do some kind of feature, and
Hmm.
they don't have the team, or they don't have the time, or the quality is just not that great because they're rushing a
Yeah.
project that they just want to get out there. And
Totally.
so, and on my end especially, like I have finished products, but then I just don't quite understand the festival scene. So it's like I don't know how to
Yeah.
submit. I don't know how to. So it's
Yeah.
just there, and
Mm,
but I'm happy it's there. I'm happy that I
hmm.
did something. But then
Yeah,
now with this
exactly.
podcast thing and being able to get it out on different platforms and stuff, and having
Well,
started
the best
that,
thing about this is that there's a built-in audience for podcasting. It is so,
yeah,
people are dying for new audio dramas. Like we already hit 10,000
yeah,
downloads in 1 month. So like that's the difference.
wow,
Like I could have made a short or whatever and then put it on YouTube and hopefully maybe a couple hundred people would have seen it. But with this, like it's
yeah,
every day we're getting a couple hundred downloads, couple hundred downloads. And it's different because I read something where, we're used to TikTok and a YouTube world where people get millions and thousands of views. With podcasts, it's a different game. People get invested in
hmm,
podcasts. You have to sit down and actually listen. And it's not just like popping up like TikTok and you watch and you get all these views. So, there is a community and there's people who are dying for new shows. So I feel like people who
yeah.
are creatives, they need to tap into that because I feel like you can do the same thing, but just in an audio version. It's harder because you don't have the medium of showing things. You have to be clever with your writing.
Hmm.
You can't be like, I'm going to the fridge to get this water bottle. You have to just hope that they understand.
But
So it's
then
it's
with
different.
that, like that's where I think your podcast really stood out to me was the sound effects, where it's like you say you're going to the fridge, opening a fridge door is very particular, and it's like you
Particular,
can
yeah,
hear it and
yeah.
know it. So it's like that's
And the
definitely. So
audience is
then,
smart.
who,
Yeah,
yeah, who
yeah. You
is?
got to trust that.
I think what's the company that it's under? 911 podcast.
Yeah,
911.
911 podcast. That's my production company. I just
Hmm.
kind of, yeah. I
Cool.
kept on seeing
Okay. Cool.
911
I was
everywhere.
curious
Like
about
I
that.
saw it on license plates. I saw it on time, 911, 911, 911. So when it came time to making my own production, I was
Yeah.
like, let me just call it 911 Productions because like
When
I see
I
this number
because when
everywhere.
I saw that, I was like, oh, cool. So he did this, and then he sent it to 911 podcasts, and then they put it all together. But no, that's you
Nah.
too. Jeez, man, that's great.
And the
That's
whole
so fun.
launch was
So,
very stressful as well because we weren't actually supposed to come out until March. But then what happened was,
oh wow.
okay, so this is the whole story. So basically, again, back to the perfectionist in me, which is I truly believe a little bit of a mental illness because like it's not okay to be like obsessing over like the littlest micro details of like a scene. Nobody
Huh.
cares. Nobody
Hmm.
cares. But it's hard to tell yourself that because you're like, no, but this is my baby and I want it to be perfect. It was
Yeah.
hard for me to edit. And so I'll never forget this. I remember waking up one morning and seeing this other company who is a very big company. They were coming out with their own show that had almost a very similar to my show. A lot of similarities, a lot of
Hmm.
I have to be careful what I say, but a lot of specific things that were very similar. And I was like, damn it, man, I've been working on the show for a year and this big company, they're going to come out with their show and, they're going to do great.
Wow.
And if I come out with my show like months later, it's going to look like I copied them. So I was in a panic and I
Uh,
called my director. I was like in tears almost. My mom was like, you need to get this out today. And I was like, well, I don't know, like it's not ready. So my first 3 episodes were edited. And so I was like, okay, I have 4 days to get this out because they're coming out in a week. I'm gonna get this out right before
oh
them.
wow.
So I sat down, we had the first draft edited. So I sat down, I got everything done and edited it, whatever. And then I just dropped it. No promotion, nothing. I just dropped it. And that was cool, but that forced me now to keep up with the editing every single week. I said the
Yeah.
first 3 episodes
Yeah.
were done. The second two weren't even the last two weren't even started. So
Wow.
I literally just went up to my dad's house, which he lives far out, and I literally just locked myself in the house, didn't leave my house for literally, I'm not kidding you, 2 months. And I just edited every single day for 10 hours. I know it sounds crazy, but we have to keep up now because yeah,
So was it a
it was a
weekly
weekly
release
release,
then?
which we also wanted to do a drop of a binge, like drop all the episodes, but we couldn't because we didn't have all the episodes done. So,
Yeah.
um, but that really forced me to give up the perfectionist because there was no time to obsess over little micro like things of scenes, right? Before nobody knew about
Interesting.
the show, there
Yeah.
was no pressure to get it out. It was between me and my friends and the director and whatever. Like nobody knew about it. But now that we had the first episode out, we had to. It's like network. We have to keep up with it, right? Every week there's a new thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care about perfection anymore. I was like, I want it to be good. I made sure it was good to the point that I like it, right? But I wasn't obsessing anymore. And so that helped me get over that, I think.
Hmm.
was crazy. I mean, I was locked in for 2 months in my house and I didn't leave, and I was working till 6 in the
Now,
morning.
well, how do you feel that you had to do that?
I mean, lesson learned, there's like, I feel
Hmm.
like you said earlier, like if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, right? And so I took my time with this
Yeah.
concept, and this is a very broad concept, like underwater thriller drama. Anyone could do that, but I, in my mind, was like, no one's going to listen to this, no one's going to see this, no one's going to take this idea, whatever, whatever. And then, someone had a similar idea. So anyway, it is what it is, and
Hmm.
then Spotify featured my show and their show right beside each other on their homepage. And I was like, no, stirring the pot. Why are you stirring the pot? But
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of how the whole
Is it
thing
is
went.
it that close where like their thing is also their plot line is
I
you can't
I
say?
haven't heard their show. I haven't heard their show. It
Okay,
actually makes me
okay,
kind of
fair.
upset. So I can't say, but
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
fair. Well, we're not talking about that
Yeah.
show, so fuck that show. It's all about Cascadia, so that's it. So,
But it's part of the
but
story, and it was
that's
really interesting to like, it's like people think you just kind of put out a show, whatever. They don't know all the backstory to it. It was like so chaotic to do. And again, I mean, now that it's all over, it's cool to kind of just be like, all right, that happened and I did that, and I push comes to shove and I had to do it. I had no other choice. And um,
yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. So
So from the first day of recording, it took you a year to get the first episode out?
yeah, no, so we did the demos in January 2021.
Okay.
We scrapped
Okay.
everything, remember? And then we went to the studio probably May or June. And then,
Okay.
yeah. And then some actors had to go back to Toronto to film
It's because
something.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at the timeline now where
Yeah.
you said the next one's gonna be out. You're aiming summertime. So then
Aiming
when does production
summertime.
start for that?
We're hoping in March. Because again, it's pretty quick to record. And if I can kind of, and
Yeah.
again, I'm so now again, I'm so warmed up to the program and to editing. I'm like, I can do it quick. Before I still was learning as we were
Yeah.
going. It just took, and again, it took my time. I
Yeah.
wasn't doing it every single day. I was, living my life.
Yeah.
And so if, we can get this going, and I'm again hoping summer. I don't know, right? We just started writing, so we'll
Yeah.
see. That's the goal. Yeah.
Nice. So you say you started writing. How but everything's fleshed out. It's just now it just has to get on paper.
Well, the way I
Or
work, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, and you can tell me maybe how you work with writing, is I kind of just free write.
sure.
Me and Antonio, my director, we
Okay.
have a Google Doc, and we just kind of write. We just write and see where it goes, and then
Yeah.
we'll take a look back at it and be like, that sucks, or that's good. We'll do obviously different drafts and stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't really sit down and like do like points of each episode because I feel like that's just for me too fabricated. I like to just kind of let it come out and write and see where it goes. I
Mhm.
don't know. So we're kind of writing as we're going.
So for me, the way I write is when I'm writing a
Hmm.
scene, I'll just write.
Yeah.
I'll just say
Yeah.
whatever. But then I kind of already blueprint out the direction I want it
Got
to
it.
go in. So it's like, okay, I'll start off with an idea, and then from that idea, I'll think of, okay, why does this problem happen?
Right.
Okay, so this problem happens here. What type of situation can
Yeah.
lead into this? And then I'll kind of like have a skeletal
Yeah. Hmm.
outline of it. But then when I'm writing the scene, I just kind of let
Let
it
it
go.
go. Yeah.
And then those are the times where like, oh wow, I'm already 5 pages
It's the
deep,
best.
and this scene's now too long for this idea, where it's like we already
Yeah.
established it. Do I need the rest of this now? But that's the thing is like
Better to take away than
and I've said this
have
before,
nothing, right? Yeah.
where when you're writing, I I've seen a few directors on set with this on like their
Hmm.
laptop and stuff, but the quote is, "Don't worry about getting it right, just write, get it right in
Right.
rewrites." So like
That's
that's gospel to me when it comes to
yeah.
writing. It's just like fuck it, just get whatever's in your
Hmm.
head, get it
Get it
on the
out.
page.
Yeah.
Just get it on the page, write
Yeah.
it, and then from there, then you can edit
It's
it.
so cool because like I'll be writing a scene and then it'll like inspire me to do what like something else that will happen later on in the episode. Or I'll be like, oh, like what if it happens like this or like that? And it
Mm.
just kind of I kind of get in it. Like it's weird. I'll like write, but I'm in the episode. And I don't know if that sounds nuts, but like me and Antonio will just kind of like bounce
Yeah.
off each other, and we don't know what we're doing. We don't know where the show's going, but we kind of just write as we're
Yeah.
going, and then we see what happens, and we take a step back and we go, okay, that's cool. That's not cool. That's, you know. And later on, even maybe in episode 4, we're like, this doesn't work with episode 2. This is a continuity problem, so we'll have to go back and change it.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't. Have you ever written a full like season of a show before? It's
Yeah.
hard. It's like hard,
Yeah.
right? I don't know for you, but for me, it's like
My problem with that is, when do I finish?
right.
When do I end it?
Yeah.
Where it's like you're just writing, and it's like, how does this end?
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
Literally.
And it's like, and as it keeps going, it starts to get a little bit redundant at
Yes.
times.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, this type of scene already happened earlier, and I'm
Right.
bringing it back.
With Cascadia.
And now I'm stuck with like 17 episodes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, do I end it here
Like,
now?
should I
This is
just
weird.
end it. Yeah. We didn't even know how to end it. We were literally like, we knew the whole season. We knew what was going on. But we didn't know how to end the show. We didn't know, spoiler alert, if they should go up to the surface, if everything should be okay. We literally recorded alternate endings. We didn't know up until the week of the final episode release. Antonio calls me and goes, so how are we ending the show? And I'm like, I don't know yet. We have like 5 different endings, but what we ended up going with will tie into season 2. It makes sense later on. So
Are you going to
I
do
feel like
anything
that's
with
like the best.
those other 5 endings?
No.
I
We
think
might.
you
We're
should.
doing a supercut episode. We're doing a supercut episode where you can actually listen to all the episodes in one, like a movie. So people who go on road trips or flights, whatever, you can listen to the whole thing in one setting, flowing. So there's actually like specific bonus scenes that never actually made it to the show that we're adding to it, and then maybe we'll have that
Cool.
different ending into that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
So
you
that's kind of what we're
mentioned,
doing
though,
now.
like with using the other influences of podcasts that made it into TV. Are you aiming then to make it a show or make it into a feature?
Yeah, I mean, we've already had, I don't know if I should say this. There is interest already in turning it. But again, you know how it is in Hollywood. You
Yeah.
never know until it's actually, even sometimes when you're on set, you don't know. So there is interest. I think that
So just wink at the camera. Does it start with an N and end in an X flicks? Or
no.
does it start with a W and end in a Arner Brothers? Does it
a Diz and a
just go
knee?
through
All of them.
But no, man, congratulations. That's incredible that there's
That's the
interest in
end goal,
starting.
you know. That'd be really cool to do, but I'm so focused on making the show good. I feel like everything else will come later, if it does, you know. And that's just all I can do, my control. So I guess back to your first question was, how did I deal with the pandemic? That was how I dealt with it. And once I started working on this, I'm not kidding you, time fucking flew. Like every day we were working on this, and just boom, boom, boom. And I'm shocked that I got through the last 2 years, but it was because of the show. Literally, it was just working on it. I just dove myself into this, and I'm so thankful. So yeah, that's what I did.
Wow. No, that's really cool. So
yeah, thanks.
With this project, you acted, you wrote, you directed, you edited, you produced, essentially. Where's your head at in regards to what we were talking about earlier about building a team? Do you see yourself giving up some of those hats?
Totally.
Or are you just 100%? Okay.
I think that it was so hard to wear all those hats. It was, for me, it was like, I wish I could have just been one of the actors, you know, just show up, do my scenes. I would have been focused on my character, but I couldn't. I had to focus on producing. I had to make sure that the lunch was coming in on time for the actors. I had to, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking about the edits and this, and that. It was very hard to wear all those hats, which I'm sure you know as well. You've done this before too.
Yeah.
And so I tried to do it where I was like, when I'm in the writing phase, I'm just in the writing phase. When I'm in the recording phase, I'm just in the recording phase, and let my director take care of it. Same thing. I tried, but it was still hard. Again, I felt bad asking for a lot of favors because, one, I wasn't paying anybody. We all did this volunteer for fun. And I had to prove myself. I've never done anything before. So hopefully season 2, now I can be like, all right, we have some kind of backing. Hopefully we can get some funding and I can pay people for actual like to take different jobs, and I don't
Yeah.
have to do everything.
Fair.
But
So
yeah,
then, with respect to that, which, if you were to rank them,
yeah,
so let's say your number one focus is to be the actor in it, and then your
yeah.
number two focus is to be the writer. Like,
Hmm.
what's the order then of hats?
I definitely like the editing. Editing was like one of my favorites because I had full control. I can make sure like, when there's beats, I can add beats, I can take away beats. I had full control. Acting would definitely be the second. But I think one of the last ones would be
Wow.
writing. Writing was really, it's really hard for me. And it still is a challenge. This is my
Yeah.
first thing. So if I can get somebody else to
Yeah.
do a lot of the writing, maybe I can overlook it or whatever, that would be really cool. So, but I do enjoy it.
Nice.
It's just harder for me versus like editing or even directing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say writing's hard for you, then was this the first thing that you've written and produced,
Yeah.
or have you written stuff before?
I've written, like I said, pilots, like little things here and there just to practice and just practice
Mhm.
writing and stuff. And I've watched so many videos on writing, but this is my first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never done this before. So this was kind of my first time ever doing it, which is crazy, but
Yeah.
you have to jump in somewhere, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah. So great question in regards to jumping in somewhere. What's that about now where it's like, um, hold on a sec. Sorry, that was a toilet.
No worries.
Um, so what's your take on that now? Where I feel like Hollywood has kind of taken an evolutionary step now where you kind of have to jump in somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's really no more waiting for that one thing that's going to set things apart. Like you have to
Mm-hmm.
jump in somehow, whether it's if you want to be an actor, oh, you also have to be a writer. You also have to be this. But
Mm-hmm.
then you can't just be this. You have to do it. You have to show us you can do it. So
Totally.
I'm curious to hear like your thoughts on that sentiment.
Well, it's so weird because before the show, I would just audition all the time. And I was so excited to get auditions and I was so excited to get these characters, whatever. But now that I've made my own thing, I'm still very thankful for auditions. I'm so excited to do any other projects, whatever, if I get lucky to do that. But it's like now that I've had this like access to doing, I'm able to do my own thing and make my own characters that I want to play. I'm just so inspired that I can now do that. If that makes sense, right? Like I'm just like, I can put all my energy instead of auditioning full time for things. I can put it into something that I'm actually going to produce and actually going to get and to work on and actually get out there. I audition so
Yeah.
much and I never really book or anything. And it sometimes can get really down. I don't know. Like, I get
Mhm.
down to do that all the time. And I'm again so thankful for any auditions I get or any other project I get to work on. But I know that I can actually make my own project and play the characters that I want to play too, which is really cool. So it's a
Wow.
weird kind of I'm in this weird like mindset where it's like I don't know how to really explain it, but I don't know how to explain it. But it's like it's cool that I
Hmm.
can now I don't have to wait for that role. I can actually write it and do it and make
Yeah.
it. If that makes sense. So
Now, because this is also your first project that you've put together, where did directing come from? Like, were you always a director? Were you always an editor? Did you have, I guess, people guiding you in these lanes, or were you like, no, I know what I'm
well, the show
doing?
is directed by Antonio Cordero. That was one thing that I was like, I can't do. Like I was like, I not that I can't do it. I just that's way too many hats for me. Like
Yeah.
I'm in almost every scene. So I needed someone to be there. And Antonio wrote the show with me. So it was cool to have someone behind the
Mm.
scenes and just kind of guide us, right? Like he knew the story, he knew,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to focus on my acting. So I don't know. I respect people who can direct and act. It's really hard to do that. But
Yeah.
no, this is all new. I've only ever been an actor. So I was able to just I feel like I got my creative fulfilled. Like I was telling you, I was dying to be creative. I feel
Mm.
like I got that fulfilled by doing all these different projects and learning so much, producing, writing, even I like helped with the directing a little bit, acting, all that stuff. So editing. So to answer your question, no, I've never done this before. It's all new, but I'm so happy I did because now I got a taste of everything, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
But so then with writing now, especially, where did the voice come from for writing? Where did that whole um style come from? Because to write is tricky when it comes to thinking of all how all your
Yeah.
characters are going to sound, thinking of what's your library like in regards to writing styles.
Again, it's all very new. I really just brainstormed. I worked with Antonio. I worked with the actors. A lot of it's improv. I
Oh
told them, I
wow.
said, look, I'm an actor too. I know when you get like a script that doesn't mesh or doesn't feel natural, improv and ad lib, do that. I want you to. And they did. And a lot of the takes that we used was that, right? And so I don't know. It's hard to kind of explain because, like I said, I just kind of write and it comes out, and then we kind of edit it as we kind of go.
Yeah.
So I don't really have like a formula or set kind of library of what I look to, but it's just for me, it was more kind of like I wanted to be an adventure. I want you to hear the show and have like shock value and feel like you're on this crazy ride. So that was more that than I feel like character development and depth in character, if that makes sense. It was more so just like an overall
Mm,
experience, which because the characters do have
yeah.
depth and they do have their own past and whatever, but a lot of it was kind of more of like an overall audio experience, I think. It's more like a
Yeah.
thriller action kind of show. The next show I would love to
Yeah.
do more like in depth
Now,
with characters now that I've had this kind of experience with writing. So I would love to do something more deeper and have that kind of
so with that, I was going to ask, what were the learning curves here? What are you going to take from season one into everything moving forward?
writing wise. Or
All
oh,
wise, where it's like in regards to editing, in regards to the recording of it.
I mean, I
Let's go with
okay,
three. Give me three crucial lessons that you learned
okay.
throughout this.
Don't write as you go. That's one. Make sure you have the whole season done before you step foot in the recording studio because we were literally writing as we were
Mm,
recording. Ridiculous. That's number one. That's the big one. Number two is to just be more organized. I feel like I was very disorganized with just even takes and having things this and that and a bajillion
mm,
files and just having all over the place. It was very disorganized
yeah.
for me. And then three, I feel like I would just um, mm, just take things as it is. Like again, when I'm in the writing stage, be in the writing stage. When I'm in the acting stage, really be in the acting stage. Just like really, instead of wearing a million hats, just try to be like in the present in the moment for each stage of the production. Because again, I was doing so many things. I was casting, I
Yeah.
was writing, it was very chaotic and it was stress on me. So take the time to write, take the time to act, take the time to edit, and like just really, you know, put your focus in each
Mhm.
category instead of just everything at once. I think that's the biggest thing.
Was there any point in the script writing or in deciding who you were going to cast to think that I want to play multiple characters?
No, I knew I just wanted one character because
Hmm.
I want to work with my friends. That's the other thing. I want to work with my friends. I want to give my friends roles and
Fair.
things like that. And
Yeah.
also, I felt like people can tell if I'm a different character. I don't know, voice wise. I wanted to be specific
Put on an accent
voices.
or something,
I,
where it's like,
yeah, I guess.
let me make let's make the staff captain an
Right,
English guy. Let's
right.
let's introduce this character and
Hey, hello,
or
Mike.
like if you have a
No,
good South African accent. Oh my God, not that
no.
one.
See, that's what I'm saying. I can't do accents. So, like, what am I gonna do? Embarrass myself? No.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. No, that's
yeah,
fair. Know your limits, I think, is
yeah.
a very good
That's the other thing.
takeaway
I was already
from.
doing so much. Adding another character, no. So yeah,
That's so
yeah,
funny. Oh,
yeah.
awesome. Wow.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
congratulations again with everything and
Thank you.
it sounds great. It really does.
Thanks,
And
man.
like again, if my testimony of you did a great job in writing a character I hated, yeah, well done. That's
Thank you. Thank
because
you.
like it's
We did it.
and it's like you did it, and it's like one of those things where and I got this similar type of feedback too with Made where everybody was
Yes.
like, great job, but I hated you. And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, kind of needed to do that for for it to work.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
the only time that I'm happy to hear that people are like upset at me and hating
It's
on
so
something.
weird. Like I'll read the comments on people are discussing the show on Reddit. Like they'll have like full Reddit posts or like on iTunes and people comment like, and I'm just they're like, we hate Declan, like he's the worst. And I'm just like, I'm
Yeah,
sad, but then I'm like, wait, no, like I that means that's a good job because that's what we want. Like it's a
yeah,
weird kind of in between, as you just said. So it's interesting for
nice.
sure.
Now,
Yeah.
with writing your own characters, like you say, you get to play things that you want to play. What's what's your, I guess, what's the word? Your fanfare, not
Like my
fanfare, but like
goal.
your yeah, what's the one character that you'd want to play?
I
Type of
don't
character or a
know.
character
Like
that's already out there?
I don't know. I it's like so weird. Like I'm so down for anything. I have an audition tomorrow for something completely different, and I'm just like so into it.
Nice.
I'm like yes, yes, yes. And then I kind of just I'm like a puppy. Like I like love to read these roles and characters, and I'm just like down. Let's take the challenge. So I don't really have a specific one. I would say off the top of my head, but I really want to do a sitcom. I know it's so random, but I really want to do a sitcom.
Hmm.
I've never done one, and I think that'd be really
Yeah.
fun to just experience the timing and the pace and all that stuff.
In
So I
front
think
of a
that's gonna be
studio audience type or
sure,
like a
sure.
one cat? Oh wow.
Do they
Nice.
even do that anymore? I don't even know if they do those kind of shows
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. They do live studio
Yeah,
audience and stuff, and
still, eh?
it's the
Yeah, that'd
production
be
of it
really fun.
is yeah.
Have you done one?
It's like I haven't yet,
No,
but
yeah,
from the ones that I've heard, friends who have done it, where it's just like it's it's TV and theater in one, where like you get to hear the
exactly.
immediate reactions of your audience, but at the same time you kind of have the luxuries of getting a right take, a proper take. So
Right,
it's like the audience gets to see different takes now, right?
right.
So you get to
But
mix it up, you get to have fun with it.
do they do a lot of takes like on on set they can do like 10 takes sometimes on a scene. Do they do that many on like a
Yeah,
live studio? Wow.
sometimes, yeah. And they'll have multiple cameras going at the same time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
like they don't have to do turnarounds or anything, but it's sometimes the actors flub the lines, so they have to go back,
Totally.
right? But
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
like now you get caught in that world of "Fuck, I can't get my lines,
Yeah.
and you can't just like give me five, get me to walk out because the audience is there
Totally.
waiting to like see what
Exactly.
they
Yeah.
came in to see. So
I
like you
can't be a
gotta.
diva.
So then now there's the pressure of performing
Exactly.
it for the audience and not just your
Yeah.
castmates. So it's a totally different ball game
I
as
think it'd be
a
a lot
live
of fun to
show.
do.
Wow, I do
Yeah.
sports, but no, it's yeah, no,
It'd
that'd
be
be fun.
fun.
That'd be
Because
cool.
I mean, I started off in
Yeah.
theater, so and I haven't done theater in so long. So the concept of like memorizing 100-page script and like for like and performing it in the real time is so foreign to me now. Again, as a kid, I did it all the time,
Hmm.
whatever. But now I'm like
Yeah.
6-page audition. I'm like, that's so much, like it's so weird. So doing like a sitcom where it's like you're doing maybe 20 pages and I think they shoot like 2 days an episode or something. That'd be really fun, to
Yeah.
experience like theater, like you said, theater and television, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I hope your agent is, or your ex-agent is like
I hope so too. I'm just kidding.
there was a one thing that I booked, and like I kind of fell out with my Toronto
Hmm.
agent,
Oh, I know this
and the
story.
next
I
thing that
know
I
this
booked
story. I know this
was
story.
oh
I
yeah.
literally told my
So
parents
yeah.
the story. You could tell. I feel like you should tell it to the audience. Sorry, I like cut you off.
I'm not gonna tell it to the
Oh, okay.
audience until like I'm gonna wait for that
Yes.
opportunity
It's
where it's like it's
like
such a
when you have your
yeah,
lifetime biopic movie one day, that's going to be like a big scene.
yeah, 100%, hundred
Yeah,
percent, because that was like I'm still at the point where I care about
of
getting work, so
course.
it's like I don't want
Of
to
course.
shoot myself in the
Yeah.
foot yet. But if anything, this is a promise to Hollywood: is once I make it, they're gonna get a really fun story.
Yes. Yes. You and me, Betty. You and
Spilling
me.
all the tea. Spilling all of the tea.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, oh my God. Thank you so much for coming out
Thank
and giving
you.
me your time and sharing everything about Cascadia. So it's out on Spotify. That's where I'm listening
It's
to it.
out any
What else?
platform that you listen to podcasts, everywhere. Yeah.
Okay,
And we
cool.
just released a
Do
soundtrack
you
today
utilize
for the
oh,
show.
no, do
Yeah.
you utilize YouTube as well
For what?
for it
For the show?
for your
It
podcast?
comes out on
Yeah.
YouTube on February 1st. February 2nd, sorry, February 2nd. We're gonna have all the episodes there.
Cool.
You can
Got
binge
you.
it
Got
there.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's literally going to be
Yeah.
everywhere, and hopefully on your streaming services
Yes.
in real live action one day.
Hopefully,
That's gonna be,
hopefully,
and that's gonna be fall of
hopefully.
2022.
That'd
That's
be really
gonna
cool. That'd be really
right
cool.
after.
I just want to say we work with
That'll be
some really good
fantastic.
musicians, Daniel Birch and Lee Rosevere, and we like I said earlier just now, Lee just released soundtrack volume 1 of our season. Volume 2 is coming out soon with
Yeah.
Daniel Birch, but you can look up any streaming service, Cascadia soundtrack, and
Yeah.
you can get all the music from the show. The music's so
Fun.
good. I'm so proud of the composers. They're
Yeah.
so talented. So go check them out for sure. Yeah.
Dope. Awesome. So again, man,
Thank you
good
so
luck
much
with
for
everything.
having me.
Congratulations with everything. Yeah,
Thank
no, and
you.
I'll try my best to rush this out so you can get some more views.
Oh, yes.
Sooner
Awesome.
than later. So yeah, no, but
Thank you so much, man.
everybody, thank you all for coming out and tuning in to the 2 Degrees podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. Check out Adam Murciano and everything that he's doing. Also, log on to your Spotify's and all those streaming platforms for your podcast and check out Cascadia. And in the meantime, everybody stay safe. Thanks for tuning in.